Eat this.
Don't touch that dial. It's time for Tech Talk with Chad Hembree, featuring the latest and greatest in today's technology, with a little fun along the way.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Oh God, here we go again. Dork alert.
Hello and welcome to Tech Talk with Chad Hembree for our special edition on the web. And I want to thank Dean Buttry and Brad Powell for joining me on the web. We are actually having to do a chat room because, Dean had an accident. Dean,
Yes.
Would you like to tell the world what your accident was?
Well, Saturday I was jumping on my daughter's trampoline. Hadn't been there maybe 1-2 minutes. I jumped up in the air casually, came back down, heard what sounded like a tree limb cracking off the tree, and fell to the canvas. And it was actually both bones in the lower part of my leg shattered, went through the muscle out to the side of my skin. So I laid there, bleeding, waiting on the paramedics, and when they tried to move me, the bone was sticking out, like here's the canvas, and every time they moved me, it was doing this on the canvas.
Ouch.
Yes, it was not pleasant.
But anyway,
And all the comments
you did get it set. I saw that. And
I got it set without the help of pain medication.
the pain
Lovely
medication,
UK.
I guess the only redeeming factor there.
Without the pain medication. The doctor
really?
thought she was giving me a sedative, and she was just taking blood. And so he just grabs on and pulls my bone.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, I hate UK. I had to go there. That's the only reason I went there.
All right. Well, Dean, I'm sorry, but we're trying to work around it, and I'm glad you're all good sport with this. And Brad, you've not been in front of the camera in a long time with us, but we appreciate you being on the show, and we got a lot of things to talk about. But you got a new toy today, didn't you?
I sure did.
Yeah.
iPhone 3GS. You know, the trade-off of the new 3GSs, what they did was they lowered the price, but they upped the price of the accessories and etc.
Oh, okay.
Try to sell a OtterBox case for $50, and you can buy a new phone if you break it, you know?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. But anyway, you like your iPhone though, and they're a good device. We've always said that. We just were mad at AT&T for the longest time. I think AT&T is doing a little better now, and I hope this whole merger thing is blocked by the Justice Department, like they've talked about. I don't think that's good at all for the entire wireless industry. The first story I wanted to talk about is a throwback to last week, and that was the HP Touchpad. And we had talked about how HP did a fire sale to get rid of these things. Margie actually did some talking about that. And Dean, you actually went to buy one, correct?
Yes, I did.
And not long after you got that thing, you found out that indeed HP has decided to bring them back out.
Right. Everyone was kind of thinking, well, is this just a ploy to penetrate the market? I mean, the iPad is, of course, has the largest market share. Then you have all of the competitors, the Iconia Tab, the Terminator, the Zoom, the Samsung Galaxy Tab. All these people in either running iOS or Android. So where was WebOS, which is a great operating system? I really forgot how much I liked it. And it's based off Linux. It's like Android. Actually, I was reading a couple of the fixes, like the Hulu fix for this. Because Hulu did work on this, and then shortly after the fire sale, Hulu blocked it from the website. Of course, the hackers already found a way to spoof the web browsing so that you're on a computer. Well, it's the same file directory as in Android, so the Android developers quickly stole that and implemented it on their Android phones. So very closely related operating system, it's pretty much just a GUI is the difference. And I love it. And it works great. They make it to root. All you put in is a code to root it. It has a 1.5 gigahertz chip in it, and it actually downclocked it to 1.2. It took me 5 minutes to get it running back at 1.5. And it's been off the charger since 6 a.m. And I've been using it all day, and it has 80% battery. And that's with it technically overclocked. And I watch YouTube videos, emails, Facebook, type documents. And it's an awesome device. So they knew they had an awesome product. How do you get the people to love it, to like it, to buy it, to penetrate it, to go where iOS did? Sell for $150, say you're discontinuing it. And within 2 days, they sell 350,000 tablets. And then sold like another 350,000 along the next week after inventory started, spreading out, like to Best Buy and on the website and such. So now they're the most popular and best-selling tablet around. People are back to spending $350 and $400 on eBay for these things. Why would you pay that much for a discontinued product when you wouldn't have paid it when it was new? So all along, and a lot of people thought, and it's all over the web too, thought it was a huge marketing ploy, just an ingenious way to stimulate the market. That, all the app sales and all that would, make up for it. So what's happening is HP is actually going to spin off its PC business. The department in charge of the PC business currently, HP is our, I've been on pain meds. Grammar is not the best. But HP is actually making a supposed third-party company that they have stocks in to handle the touchpad, and will continue to manufacture new models and support the touchpad. And I kind of saw that coming for quite some time, because right after I bought the touchpad, HP sent me an email after I registered with Palm that HP would be continuing to update the software and bring in innovative technologies and functionality along with getting developers behind the App Store for at least 2 years. And it's kind of like, why would they do that? They said this product was defunct and discontinued. Why would developers in the first hand want to get behind it? Why would you spend 2 years with updates and developing new WebOS features? And of course, now we have our answer. They're spinning off the PC business as we thought and taking the people in charge of the PC, making it a third-party company, and going to keep doing the touchpad stuff now that they have a stranglehold on the market. Because it's a heck of a tablet. I really enjoy it. I like it over the Xoom that I used. It's very good.
Right. Now, what kind of options do you have for adding cell service to that?
This one currently does not have it. They were coming out with a white one. This was all black. That was the Touchpad 4G. And that had the quote-unquote 1.5 gigahertz processor. It was, actually the ad is still up on the HP's website to pre-order, which is kind of funny. It was up last week when we were doing the show. And it had 4G service through your choice of carrier. They were just going to have a CDMA or a GSM version. So pretty much Verizon, AT&T.
So there's no way to add a SIM card or something to the phone you have now, though? To the tablet you have now.
Correct. It looks like they designed it to have one. It's got this little push-in thing that I thought might have been SD expansion, something. And it looks just like where a SIM card would fit. I don't know how well you can see that. It looks just like where a SIM card would fit. But in reality, it is just, I can't see the screen. It's just serial numbers and model numbers.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it looks exactly like where a SIM card would fit. So I'm thinking that they designed the case that way, and they left it for the 4G. And they have an interesting little app in here called Phone and Video Calls with the dial pad. So I'm thinking that soon there was going to be the touchpad out with phone and voice and 3 and 4G capabilities. It may still come now.
My Huawei that I use actually has a place to put a SIM card in it. That's the reason I was questioning.
Yeah. It'd be nice to have it, but I mean, I can tether with my phone. Everywhere I go is Wi-Fi. Like in the hospital, this came in extremely handy because they have extremely fast. They get like 40 megs per second at the hospital. It's insanely fast. And, yeah, I mean, so everywhere I've been so far has had Wi-Fi and it's handled it great. So I don't really have a need for the 4G service. So.
Well, it looks like you're enjoying it, and I like it. It's a good product, and I'm a huge HP fan, so there you go. I hate that they're spinning off the PC division though, because I've always liked HP notebooks.
HP's always made great notebooks. They're great. The DV7 I'm using, that was a gift from a friend, is awesome. So.
Well, I'm using a DV7. Actually, I think all three of us are using DV7s. Am I correct?
Are we all using DV7s?
You are correct.
Yep.
Nice. Right. Okay. So we're definitely pro HP.
Actually got. Wait a minute. You didn't know this, but both of you all have that special edition, bronze edition. Both of you do.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Good choice.
Yeah. I don't. Yep. Sorry. You know. Mine has an AMD video instead of NVIDIA. The next story I wanted to talk about is, you know, last year we had tried to kind of experiment with different segments, and one of them was mean or green, and I do want to bring that back this season. We may not do it every show though. Bradley's making fun of you eating your popcorn, man. You're going to starve everybody.
Nice.
The mean or green car I have for today, though, is actually both. Recently, Toyota had introduced a new electric race car, and they ran it at Nuremberg in Germany, and actually broke all kinds of records with this car for electric vehicle. And it is totally awesome. The model number is a PV001 EV. It looks, really, I don't want to say what it looks. It looks like a big go-kart to me of sorts, but it's a full-size race car, but just the way it's designed, it looks like a go-kart. You'll have to check it out. Just go to any Google site and type in the PV001 EV, and you'll get pictures of the car. And they set some pretty good records in Nuremberg, and I think it's really cool. I mean, we're seeing electric cars go where we thought they were going to go a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a full-on, well, not maybe full, it looks like a smaller version of a 24-hour Le Mans car, actually, since I have this nifty tablet.
So you'll look it up. Okay. Well, anyway, this car, yeah, it's not going to work. It just blows the camera out.
Yeah.
Good try, though. We're experimenting anyway. Isn't
that what college is for?
160 miles an hour, top speed, and 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds. So we're talking about numbers that come off from, you know, any kind of race car, not just an electric one. So I'm very excited about this. 375 horsepower. So, you know, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's kind of like Porsche's idea. You get the weight down and the horsepower to weight ratio goes up, and then you end up ultimately with a faster car.
See, I like Corvette's philosophy. Get the weight and the ratio down as well, and then drop 600 horses under the hood. And you ultimately get a faster car.
But not fuel efficient.
Screw the environment.
Do you think in our lifetime we're going to see an electric series of cars, or do you think they'll start integrating electric cars into the series that we already...
I think at first they'll do it as a wow factor, and then I think they'll branch off into its own division.
So they won't try to consistently compete with the existing sports.
Yeah, because too many people will complain, especially if they were to win. So.
Okay, so it's kind of danged if you do win with it, because they cheated. Their car was not. Yeah, I got you.
They didn't have to refuel and all that junk.
All right. Well, so do you think electric racing will take off as a huge sport? Do you think your typical NASCAR fan, gearhead? Don't get me wrong, I'm close to that. Do you think they can stomach all of a sudden electric cars as the mainstream?
I don't know. Have you guys ever been to a NASCAR race?
Oh yeah.
One of the experiences. You've never been, Bradley?
No.
You should go. Into an Indy race. I love Indy. It's awesome. But one of the experiences with NASCAR that you don't get from watching it on TV, no matter how loud you crank your surround sound up, is the rumble in your chest and that ear-piercing just as they go by. With electric cars, it just be like the Jetsons race.
I can see that, yeah.
So, your car's fast, but okay. Kind of thing. So.
Well, it makes sense. All right, moving on. The next thing I wanted to talk about, 2 years ago, we talked about a company called Cylindra that was producing some pretty phenomenal solar technologies. One of these was their solar panel system they were developing. And I thought it was phenomenal. And they caught a lot of attention. Actually, were given a large sum of money from the government. I think I actually had the figure here, what they were given. I don't see it right off.
$535 million.
Okay. So they were given these millions of dollars from the government, and President Obama actually visited the factory for a nice photo op. All excited. Okay, this is new technologies. This is awesome. This is great. Solar, yep, that's what we're working for. They filed for bankruptcy this week. Chapter 11.
Yeah, well, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're down and out. They're just cleaning their slate, maybe operate under a different name. But how many businesses constantly file bankruptcy and
how
never
many
go away?
businesses take millions of dollars from the government so that they can be successful and then file bankruptcy?
Chrysler?
Okay, and they're back strong. Maybe I should shut up to that. But the point here is it just drives me nuts to see things like this happen. And I always ride the fence on the green technologies anyway, because I think that green's okay until a certain point, and then it's like, don't have your mind so open your brain falls out in front of you. There is a reason that the established norm is there for what we have done in the past. We can't discredit everything that's been done in the past and think that, why didn't they do it this way because it's better? Well, no, there's probably a reason. For instance, California going nuts over wind power right now, putting these turbines up like crazy. All right, raptors. Endangered animals, including the bald eagle, 1,300 of them.
Oh, that you're talking like velociraptors.
No, yeah, velociraptors. 1,300 birds were killed by wind turbines in California last year. Now, if the oil company had one accident that killed 1,300 birds, the Greenpeace, everyone would be all over them, and they'd be eating them alive publicly. But because it was green power, wind turbines that killed these birds, it just kind of blows over.
So the birds, it's always there.
So the point here is that we make such a difference between the standards we hold different things to. Oh, because this is wind power. That was unfortunate it killed those birds. But had it been a coal plant that produced something that killed those birds, heaven forbid that.
Oh, wait a minute. You're trying to say that environmentalists are short-sighted? Never. I never heard of such.
All right. You obviously get the point. I hope everyone else does too. I'm telling you, that just drives me crazy. I want to push these technologies, but sometimes I can't stand to push the technologies because I don't like the people who are pushing them. I definitely don't want to be lumped with them.
Well, if you look what happened to them, they got in deep heat with the opposing competition globally because everybody's going for that solar panel energy right now. And what they did is they tried to rapidly, catch up to them, and they just couldn't do it in that amount of time. It set them back pretty hard on the prices, and they couldn't keep up with the, input-output.
So, like you said, if it's a hot market, you've got to have an edge on everyone, and apparently their edge wasn't enough. Well, one thing we had talked about a couple of years ago was a company also was making a film that you could put on clear glass and actually have clear solar panels for the first time. So, like, every window in a building could now be a panel. Well, that doesn't sound like much in a house, but think about a skyscraper downtown that's solid glass. That means potentially the entire building could be a solar panel. Now, that is pretty awesome. And why I haven't seen anything expand on that yet, I don't know.
Solar power has always been my favorite, even as growing up. It always has been my favorite. It just seems to make more sense. The battery development is less harmful than the hybrid stuff. And what's the figure? A 1 square foot of sun for a day can power like New York City if we were to properly harness it for an hour.
That's the problem. Yeah.
Sony's
announcement of the Walkman phone. I mean, really? Did you all see the pictures of it?
Yeah.
Are we not impressed? It's a phone and it plays music. Oh, whoa! Look out! It plays music.
Yeah. On Android.
My LG phone that I carried, my little flip phone, played music. Okay, and it played it well. And it actually had an FM tuner, by the way, that would stream to my stereo. And that was 10 years ago. Why am I not impressed with an MP3 phone? I'm not.
Already running Android. Doesn't all their other phones play music?
I'm telling you, it is running Android, but to even market it as, this is the music phone. Ooh.
And 3D.
Yeah, and Sony's Android phones are horrible. Brad, you just got rid of one to get that iPod.
It was horrible. They are
some of the biggest pieces of crap. And then they go around and they sue Google for Android patents. Like, only thing you've been selling on your phones has been Android anyways, and you want to sue Google. Then you want to market your Walkman Android phone.
I just think I think that's going to be a dud, and I just want to throw it out there that I don't think I would encourage anybody to run out and buy a Walkman phone.
Yeah, it's one of those products.
Options out there.
It's one of those products targeted at 12-year-old little kids. And, that's a music phone. And the idiot consumer is who it's for.
All 12-year-olds top of the list, huh?
Thanks, Dean.
Yes, my list.
The general manager said that this is their first try to make a convergence between Android products and their own technology. And after reviewing this customer's acceptance, we'll decide if we want to expand this kind of product. Haven't they been kind of been doing that?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I don't think there's anything new here. It is what it is. All right, moving on, though. We're talking about Google a little bit more. Did you see that Google brought back the offline support for Google Docs and Gmail? That is very good. No matter how good cloud computing gets, it's never going to be perfect. Offline files fix that.
Yeah, it's a very necessity. Definitely a necessity.
So, not a lot to talk about it, but it's just something I wanted to bring up. Something really weird in the news. Did you see that there's a statistic out that says by 2025, I believe it is, 2025, 50% or half of all burials will be cremations in the United States. So one technology that's being advanced, of course, is the how do you cremate and better ways to do that. And one of the problems they're having with cremation, of course, is all the chemicals that it produces. For instance, the mercury out of filled teeth, all those type things that are causing problems. Well, there's a company in Florida that has installed the very first body dissolving. Now, this is a weird subject to talk about, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but it is a big breakthrough in tech that it actually, after you cremate the body in this device, it dissolves all the materials safely. Of course, there's no packing the ashes home at that point, but anyway, you're gone.
There is an Italian mobster going, hey.
Where's the evidence? It was dissolved.
Yeah.
Well, that could be the lingo for it. He was dissolved. What happened to Johnny? He's dissolved.
Yeah, we dissolved our relationship with him.
Yeah, that's even better. We start using that. Yes, we dissolved that relationship. Yeah, that's good. Dissolved our partnership. Oh my gosh, there's so many places you can go with that. Well, if anyone gets a chance to look, go online, just type it into Google or Yahoo, whatever, body dissolving or cremation dissolving. It'll bring up pictures of this thing. It looks like a huge washing machine, okay? A great big industrial washing machine.
So you just cram them in there and turn on the on button?
No, it's made, it's just slide the body right in there, but it's just makes me think of those cats in the dryer YouTube videos,
Yeah, can you imagine the noise? I mean, you put a shoe in the dryer and it makes an awful racket. Can you imagine a body?
Yeah, I don't think it quite spins, but I get your point. That's hilarious. Another breakthrough, anyway. iPhone, another one stolen. Do you all know anything about this? It was in the news. I don't know.
I heard a little about it.
Before I started, I saw that Nick had Shelton, who helps us with the show quite often, was actually chatting on Facebook, and he typed in there, did you see another iPhone was stolen? I don't know how I missed that. Maybe I just ignored it because it was an Apple story. I don't know. That was bad. Hey, what happened? Do you all know?
No, I haven't heard about it. How long ago did it happen?
They were testing it, I think.
Yesterday or day before, apparently. It was another.
They were out at a bar, some kind of Mexican bar, and some guy stole it from them, and apparently they sold it on Craigslist not too long later for about $200.
Didn't this happen last time at a Mexican bar?
Well, no, I don't think it's Mexican, but that's funny. To lose a prototype, I mean, really, seriously.
That's kind of a hit.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that I believe or not. Do you think last time everyone kept saying it was a setup? I don't know. Could it be a setup?
It's a great way to market and get the buzz out there. Oh, it had this and this and this. And then if it doesn't have that, then they say, oh, it was just a prototype. Yeah, here we go. CNET has it. And the other one was April 19th of 2010.
Of 2010, so just last year.
Yeah, but right before the other iPhone was released.
Now, which group was it that wanted to pay the money and they actually got fined for asking for someone to take one? Wasn't Engadget, was it? I've lost both. I'm seeing blank faces. So anyway, there was a group that had paid money trying to get that, and it ended up being a lawsuit. Did you all see that? I try to keep up some of the entertainment stuff occasionally, and I'm a huge Star Wars fan. And another guy that's on the show with us quite often, Jonathan Van Winkle, he's a huge Star Wars fan too. And I have yet to get his opinion on this because I know it's going to be full of bad words. But apparently, George Lucas has not only released the original trilogy of Star Wars on Blu-ray, but he has changed it yet again. So every
I
time
don't know much
he
about
changes
change.
yeah, I don't know what the
It's,
changes are, but apparently it's going to release on September the 16th, and there will be changes again, additions, I guess.
Yeah. It's like this little stuff. I saw a little clip of it.
Yeah, I'm all about the adding better special effects and things like that. It would be very nice to have on the Blu-ray, since there's a lot of storage space on Blu-ray, to have the original, unaltered as a viewing option. But I do enjoy the advancements in technology. But it's when they go changing Han Solo, killing Greedo, stuff like that aggravates me, because, I mean, it's unnatural looking when he does that. And first off, I want Han Solo to kill first, because he's not supposed to be a quote-unquote good guy. He's supposed to just be a bad double dollar sign. Yeah, and just kill him straight up. That's part of his character. And that stuff aggravated me. But as far as technical advancements goes, I'm all for those. I love those.
I remember the first time I saw that scene in the redone version or whatever, and I actually had that on VHS.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? That's not right. That's not how that happened. I feel like one of those people that reads the book and gets in the movie saying, well, that's not how that's supposed to be. Which, by the way, I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's coming out. I'm sure I'll buy it because I'm a Star Wars fan. Blu-ray, I'll be right there. But
I was going to go out and buy it, but I'm thinking right now I'm going to have it delivered to me.
Oh, really? You don't think you can run out on the 16th?
Yeah, sure. It's just a couple weeks away. I'll just, jog on out there.
Now, really, how long do they think your recovery will be, though?
Depending on how well I go, 6 to 12 weeks before I can actually start walking on it. She said 4 to 6 before I start doing weight-bearing activities. And then 8 to, say I start walking at 6, it'd be about 8 weeks before it'll have the response time enough to drive. And they can be able to have the constant pressure.
Well, guys, I want to thank you for being on this edition of Tech Talk and trying out the web chat like this. And I'm glad it worked out that we could be many miles apart and still pull this off, Dean. And I do hope you have a speedy recovery. Of course, we'll join you in the show via Skype or this way for the next few weeks as well. In this show, we'll also be having the Zoom review that we actually recorded back in the summer. So with Mike Beagle, so we'll be looking forward to seeing that on this show as well. So thanks again for being on here. Join us next week for more tech news. Hello and welcome to the gadget section of this week's show. And we have a very special guest with us here today. Mr. Mike Beagle back to join us. Haven't seen you in a few weeks.
It's been a while.
But you've brought a real treat for us that we've been asking for.
I'm one of the best yet. Yeah, appreciate having me back out. I brought the Motorola Xoom with me.
Well, we've been looking forward to having this Zoom on the show for quite some time, and I do appreciate, by the way, y'all for letting me try to play with one a little earlier, but I didn't really have time with my father being sick and everything. I
understand.
Just really weighted down. Now, Dean's mad at me because I didn't let him take it. So, I guess I'll think a little broader in the future.
Dean has requested I carbon copy him on all emails. So if you can't take the devices, he's going to step in and maybe test them out for
be a real team player. Take one for the
He's such a nice guy, isn't he? Yeah.
Well, Mike, it's been a while since you've been on the show, so go ahead and introduce yourself again and your position.
I will. I'm Mike Beagle. I'm the business account executive for Verizon Wireless in Lexington as well as southeastern Kentucky. So I handle all business accounts. I'll go ahead and throw my number out there. If anybody needs to get a hold of me, you can reach me at 859-537-5274.
All right, great. Well, we have talked about Android tablets, and I even brought my little Huawei on the show one day, but nothing really touches this thing. This is pretty much as close to the iPad as you're going to get with a tablet at the moment, correct?
That is correct. This is a 10-inch screen, which is pretty much similar in size to what you see on the Apple iPad, which we do carry those as well. But as far as Android goes, Google built their own.
The clock is out hitting, right? We'll just leave that.
Time's up. That's all we got.
You pick a nice room. It's got a nice clock. Can't help it.
I know. You got to sacrifice a little bit. But Android, Google, on the other hand, is the creator of Android's operating system. They built an OS, an operating system specifically for tablets that some of the early entry tablets didn't have. It's called Honeycomb, and this does feature that. So it looks a little bit different than what all the Android phones look like, and that really gives it a smooth, customized feel, and it makes you feel like you're using a tablet instead of just a big cell phone.
Okay, so it's Honeycomb.
It's called Honeycomb. It's 3.0 is the OS number. It's Android OS 3.0 Honeycomb.
Nice.
Okay.
And as far as the additional specs on this, they put a dual core 1 gigahertz processor in this device. So it's actually got 2 1 gig processors, like you see in a lot of PCs, which is actually a little bit faster than what the iPad can offer because it's just got the single core. You do have a front-facing camera, 2 megapixels, and 5 megapixel camera on the back. So you can do video chatting applications with the camera.
What about video capabilities?
720p HD. So it does record video and shoot video in HD quality.
That's great.
Now I heard that the Honeycomb had a video editing software, kind of like the iPhone and iPad has.
It does, yeah. When you record the videos in like 720p, for example, you can cut them and manipulate them and edit them to your specifications, which would be good for you guys if you had to shoot a clip on the go and there were some segments of maybe the beginning and the middle or the end that you needed to cut out. You could do that with that application.
Great.
Very cool.
Well, all right. Go ahead and tell us about it, and we'll zoom in on it here in a little while with the camera and get another shot while you're talking about it. But go ahead and tell us all about it.
Okay, I'll go ahead and turn it around a little bit here just to display its size. I would like to turn it sideways a little bit and show you the thinness of it.
Oh, wow.
It's extremely thin, so it feels great when it's in the hand. When you're holding it with 2 hands, it just feels really good. And you notice all the writing of it, it's really made to be more of a horizontal device, whereas the iPad is more meant to be straight up. You can turn it sideways, but they really meant for this device to be horizontal, to be long ways. And I touched on the cameras a little bit, front facing 2 megapixel, rear facing 5. And oddly enough, this is the power button as well right here. They put it on the back of the device. It took me forever to try to find it when I first unboxed it. Right,
yeah,
so they stuck it on the back there. So
I see that there's got LED flash on it too.
LED flash, yeah, for the camera and as well as video recording. It sure does. And this slot right here, this is where the SIM card will be, because this device is actually capable of being upgraded to our 4G LTE technology. You send the device back to Motorola, they upgrade it for you to 4G, and they send it back free of charge. About a 5-day turnaround on that, and then once that happens, you'll have a SIM card up here.
Fantastic. No extra cost for that.
No extra cost for that. And that is, it's the only 4G tablet on the market when it comes back upgraded. Just as we roll out our towers and build up our network, Motorola will start upgrading these. And that's about it. On the bottom here, you see you got an HDMI output, so you can transfer this to hook it up to a television or even a projector, for that matter, if you want to use it for business purposes. And then with the charging port on the bottom, there's all kinds of docking accessories that you can get for it. You can get Bluetooth keyboards, Bluetooth mouses, or mice, if you will.
Mouses, that's correct.
Mouses,
it's mouses with computers.
So that way you can really accessorize your device.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful piece of equipment for us.
Now, what are the speeds on the dual core products?
They're both 1 gigahertz.
And how much RAM?
It's got 1 gig RAM as well, and 32 gig memory on board.
Okay.
When you get it back from Motorola after you upgrade it to 4G, it will also have a memory card slot for expandable memory. So that way you could put up to multiple different 32 gig memory cards in it if you needed to. You can just replace them.
And so essentially you could take it up to 64 gig.
Yeah, you sure could.
Very nice.
That is incredible. The guys are freaking because they're hearing a phone. It's not this office, it's another one, so don't worry about it.
It's next door.
That's right.
Yeah.
As you know, this summer we are taking Tech Talk on the road and we'll be filming in different places. And these are just things that we have to learn to deal with.
Clocks and phones and great, awesome pictures.
A little bit of traffic every once in a while, you know.
Air conditioning.
And if you haven't seen our Corvette special where we went to the National Corvette Museum, you need to go online and check that one out because it is cool. We had a great time. All right, now back to this tablet. The tablet, like you said, it's very powerful, has lots of memory, lots of speed. What do you see the purpose of this tablet? I mean, this is not an e-reader. I mean, if all you're needing is an e-reader, this is not the way you're going.
You know, you probably wouldn't. You could go to a tablet if you were looking for an e-reader because it has you can have the application on here to buy books. Like Google Books is right here. I can click on that application, purchase a book from Google, and read it right on my device and use this as an e-reader. So the Kindle application is available on here. So if you already have a Kindle account, you can upload the application through the Google Market, read your books right on here. So it could be your e-reader, it can be your email, it can be your internet access, it can be everything in one. Your gaming console, your camera. This device we're really seeing this starting to replace mobile computers and laptops. People in the field are replacing full-size laptops with these devices because they have the same capabilities. And then for residential use, people are getting them for kids, around the house, traveling, airplanes, airports. They're great for all that.
Now, what kind of video processor does it have? Do you know?
I don't know. As far as video, I just know the 720p HD shooting.
On the processor, what is the brand?
Is it a Tegra?
No, I think they use the Snapdragon.
The Snapdragon, then it's got its own built-in 3D graphics.
Yeah.
The dual core does.
Yeah,
and actually,
it depends on the model.
The dual core one has 3 times or 4 times better video than the single core one. If you go by the model numbers, so it's pretty awesome video. But you know, on the commercials, they already show the 3D, the maps with the 3D and
right.
Yeah.
Turn it sideways. Yeah, the Google Maps application, kind of similar like Google Earth. It's wonderful. It does work that great.
Well, this is great, and I'm glad you brought it down here for us to see. Let's see it.
Yeah,
a second. I want to
feel
feel the weight.
Oh, wow!
Back
here.
That feels good. It's rigid. It's not flimsy.
Would you say that an iPad user would be happy with moving to that?
Most definitely. Yeah, the iPad's a great product as well. It's really two completely different applications depending on what you're using it for.
See, I would envision this would be more for a power business user, and the iPad is more for a casual type of user, just checking some email.
He sells both. I think he's going to disagree with you. You could use either for either.
That is accurate, but to kind of argue your point a little bit, Dean, with some of the things it can do, the business customers are definitely intrigued by the dual-core processor, the 4G capability, and Androids are known to support Flash. A lot of websites that companies do business with, or even their own website, has Flash built in. So being able to access that content is sometimes critical to business customers.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm loving this. I'm liking the ebook.
You should have taken it for a week. It was yours.
Well, no, that's all right. I mean, I know I'll want one.
Yeah.
All right, now let's hit everyone now. The price. It is a little pricey.
Comparative to some of the other devices on the market, it's right in line. If you choose a data plan with Verizon Wireless, you can get anywhere from 1 gig up to 8 gig. You get the device with a 2-year contract for $599.99.
Well, now that's a better price.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then that way you can use it outside of just Wi-Fi areas. You can use it anywhere that the Verizon 3G expands to, which is the nation's largest 3G network. So when you're out in the field, you can use it as well.
So without, though, that's where it's kind of a high price.
It's a little bit higher if you wanted to just purchase it with no data plan and use it Wi-Fi only. It's going to be $799.
$800.
Yeah. $600.
Well, that's not too bad. Really, with the plan, knocking a couple $100 off, that's a good deal.
Yeah, and if you're going to purchase a device like that, especially the business customers that we deal with frequently, they want them to be connected to the 3G network because they're not just using them in airports and hotels. They're using them every day. So they utilize the 2-year contract and get that $200 discount.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for bringing this down.
Thanks for having me. We love showing it off.
Any other new devices on the horizon that you'll be bringing back pretty soon?
Well, we discussed a little bit. I know there's some interest. Sony Ericsson has created an Android device that is the first PlayStation approved phone. So you can play PlayStation similar games on that device.
And it's got the actual
controls.
Actual key.
Yeah, you'll recognize the D-pad as well as the traditional X and circle and square and triangle that you're used to seeing on a PlayStation controller.
Well, our fans will definitely be interested in that.
We'll have to bring it down and show it off to everybody.
And the trophy.
HTC Trophy. Yeah, Verizon Wireless has also released the first Windows phone on our network, Windows 7 phone. So we're excited about having that additional hardware in our lineup. Makes us a little bit that much more versatile.
Well, keep us on your list. We definitely want to see one.
Yeah, maybe we can do a dual segment and maybe highlight both of them.
That'd be great. Well, we're going to end our gadget segment, but if you'd like to stick around for a little bit, we're going to talk about some battery-saving techniques for tablets and phones.
I'd love to.
All right. You're watching Tech Talk with Chad Hembree. Joining me here is Mr. Dean Buttry and special guest Mike Beagle. But now we're going to talk about some battery-saving techniques for your Android, specifically, devices, and we'll talk a little bit about the Apple devices as well. First of all, when you get your Android device out of the box, they are pretty much set up battery conservative. Would you disagree with that?
I would agree with that. Yeah, the Android and the manufacturers of the device, they try to do a pretty good job of making it battery friendly for you. It's when people go in and start adjusting settings.
Like with any gadget, it's fingers that cause the problem, right? Okay. So once you start adding applications and you add this and you add that and then you change things around and then you turn the GPS on and then all of a sudden you've got this device that drains a battery as quick as you sip a small McDonald's Coke, you know. So I just wanted to talk to our fans about what they can do to make this a more user-friendly deal with the battery usage, and what they can do to expect what's reasonable once you do have a bunch of extra things turned on. Because first of all, you're not going to get the advertised length of battery life once you turn on things like GPS.
That's correct. Yeah.
And unless you leave it asleep. Put it to sleep, then put it in your pocket and never use your phone, it'll last for 2 days.
Well, there you go. You can even beat it, right? That's right. Most of the phones are sold on talk time, right? Battery life is sold on talk time.
Yeah, they'll list standby as well. But that's the two different numbers you'll hear is talk time and standby time.
But talk time and standby, neither one include data usage.
I don't know exactly what goes into their theory. I think it's just voice time, right? Talk time. Yeah. So when you're using data services, GPS, Wi-Fi.
Dean's having his phone passed over here. He's got an HTC here. But anyway, we talk about battery life, and it's compared to talk time, compared to standby time. But what we really are focusing on in this little group right here is data usage and GPS usage. Now, GPS has become a big deal. Why? Well, because it's become popular. You've got Foursquare, you've got Gowalla, you've got Google Places.
Weather.
Yeah, and the weather. Right. All these things are using the GPS. Which now the weather, I think you can tell to use the triangulation right off the towers.
Sometimes it's not very good.
But Foursquare, you have to have the GPS. That's what it works for. They give the badges based on that. So with these apps pulling that and turning your Wi-Fi on, you really do put a load, and you wonder why sometimes you're standing there and you pull your phone out and it's hot. Right. I wasn't even using it, and it's hot. Right. Why is my phone hot? Well, probably because you left the Wi-Fi on and it's been looking for a signal everywhere it goes, and it can't connect to anything. Exactly over and over and over and over again. So, step number one in saving your battery on a smartphone: keep the Wi-Fi turned off unless you're connected to a network. Now, once you're connected to a Wi-Fi network, I think what you're going to say is it's actually better for the battery.
Yeah, especially if you're in a low signal area, that your phone's constantly, Hembree, I have this problem spraying a lot of times. it has to constantly search for a radio signal, and it'll drain your battery. If you're connected to Wi-Fi, it's got a radio signal, and it won't quite search as hard for cell signal. So I've noticed that will greatly improve my battery life.
That's right. If you are in your home and you have good Wi-Fi in your home, it's fine to leave that thing turned on and connected because it's going to pull your data through it. It's fast. It's slick. It's not a problem, and it's not a big drain on your phone. But if you just leave that Wi-Fi radio on and you walk out the front door, well, first thing is it picks up the neighbors across the street. And since it's probably not programmed in your phone, it just searches for it. Doesn't really connect. Then you drive down the corner and it picks up the coffee shop you passed. And you drive somewhere and it picks something. And it never really connects to these, but it's constantly looking and searching and pulling. And that battery just is getting drained dry.
Yeah, and every time it looks for a Wi-Fi signal, it just doesn't display the name. It pulls down the passcode, the information, everything about that wireless connection, not just displaying the name. So it actually pulls quite a bit of data just for a quick little.
So be sure to keep your Wi-Fi off until you're actually going to be connected. That's the step number one that I was going to talk about.
I couldn't agree more.
Okay.
That should be step one.
Step number two, the GPS. Let's face it, you buy a little handheld GPS, battery operated. What do they sell those battery life? They're usually 4 hours, 2 hours, 3, somewhere in that, anywhere from 2 to 4 usually. There's a reason. It's because it sucks that thing down fast. Well, the same thing goes with your phone. Now, most of our phones are using assisted GPSs, so they're a little more friendly. And a GPS, basically that means that through your digital cell signal, there's a actual GPS on every cell tower. And it feeds back as one of your points. And then also stored in that digital rider signal is a kind of virtual picture of where the GPS satellite should be and the signals that you should be pulling in, and it by being assisted, it uses less battery searching, like the handheld ones, which are based on the old airplane version. And that's why if you have a handheld GPS and you get near an airport, it picks up a lot better. Well, there's a reason for that. Well, the same thing with the cell phone assisted ones. If you're not in cell phone range, they don't work very well, especially to get connected the first time. Now, once you're connected and it knows where everything is and all the information, then if you leave cell service, it still works fairly well. But if you wanted to go to the top of a mountain in Smoky Mountain National Park where there's no cell service, and you get up in the morning and you turn your phone on and you go, I got my GPS. I got my GPS. I got my GPS. You've really got, that assistant needs to be in there. So my whole point in bringing that up is that that's how the system works. Now let's talk about how it drains the battery. If you have the assisted GPS turned on, anywhere that you go, if either there's two ways it does it. Either on a time interval, it starts beating out there to find out where you're at and turns that radio on, searches for a signal for a while, then reads the signal, then goes back off. Well, that whole process takes power, and a pretty good chunk of it.
Most definitely.
The other is that some of the actual applications work that they're reminder based, like they stay connected pretty much all the time because it's looking to see if you're moving. And that was something that, which school was it we talked about? When Android was first developed, they had created a reminder system that was location-based reminder. So if you got up from your desk and you went out to your car, once you made it to the parking lot, it would say, don't forget to pick your daughter up.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, see, they haven't really explored that on, and I wonder if it's not a battery issue.
Right, could be. That would definitely be a drainer.
Because if you don't have your GPS turned on all the time, then you use cell phone triangulation. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Now, by that, it just takes 3 different cell towers, tries to put you in the middle of them, and that's fine. In rural areas, it doesn't work very well because very seldom do you pick up 3 towers at the same time. Right. But in a metropolitan area, that's not an issue. But now let's think about that. It's accurate, 300, 400 meters, something like that, the cell phone? It'll put you a good block off, right?
Yeah.
And that's okay for general, I'm in this town and I'm checking in, you know, to kind of prove that. But for accurate, like I'm in the parking lot getting into my car, there's no way that would ever work.
Right.
Because it just wouldn't know. It wouldn't know if you were in your desk or in the parking lot or halfway down the block.
You need to be more precise. Yeah.
So I guess there's really not a good way around that other than just keep your GPS turned off. Programs, the new app for Foursquare, by the way, will enable your GPS and disable it after you check in. So that is cool. So as apps get more intelligent, you may have easier use to have things like that work.
That's good. Yeah, and that's some of the applications out there that exist. They should take that feature on because it does help save battery life.
All right, so keep your GPS off. Keep your Wi-Fi off unless you're using it. Next.
Task killers.
There's a whole slew of them, but I'm going to let you talk about them.
There's a whole slew of task killers. I use ATK, just Advanced Task Killer. It works pretty good. It's the free version. I didn't want to pay $1 for it, but it just pretty much you go in after so often and look, say, all right, we got 15 apps up and running.
That's pretty tight, doesn't it?
Yeah, I am pretty tight.
That's the free version.
And you just tell it to kill, and it kills all the applications. And like, I haven't rooted my phone yet, so I still have all the Blockbuster app. I have Quick installed, all kinds of just crap that Sprint throws on their phones, and they run constantly in the background. So I got to go in there and kill them and kill them and kill them and kill them. And it helps a little bit.
Now, if you pay the $1.99, you can actually tell it which applications to close after they start, and you don't have to keep doing it. Oh, the free one will do it too.
It's free one to do it. Yeah.
Oh, I just need to play with it then.
Yeah. If you go into your settings, I've been using ATK for a while now, and you can go select what you want it to kill and what you don't. So if you don't want it to kill your GPS, Google Maps, because I actually had it checked on all of them for a long time.
Okay, so right there.
Right, exactly.
So what did I pay $1 for? No, go ahead.
You're just supporting their software building. But I've actually had it kill an app while I was in the middle of using it. And I was like, oh, that's unfortunate. I was in the middle of getting directions somewhere. So some apps that I use frequently, I'll just leave them unchecked on the Advanced Task Killer.
Very cool.
And you can have it kill them every 15 minutes, every 30 minutes,
Cool.
so you don't have to go in and check yourself either. So if you wanted to kill those apps for you, and you don't want to constantly be reminding yourself, you can do that. Just you got to be a little careful. If you're having them kill them too frequently, you're almost creating more of a battery issue because you're killing these apps that are automatically opening back up. So you're just draining your battery even more for really no purpose, because a lot of these applications, they run in the background, but they run minimal. So a lot of people think that the applications that run in the background are killing their battery, when really that's really not the issue as much as the Wi-Fi, the GPS, screen brightness, and talk time.
Okay, well, now we're get to the next thing then. So, your app killer is good. I mean, for making one thing is that people will switch out or hit the back, and they don't really ever close some apps that shouldn't be up, like games.
There are some things that you definitely want to make sure that you do shut down, like Pandora, for example. If you just pause your music and leave it on, it will drain your battery in the background. And like Facebook, and I know everybody likes to leave their Facebook updating, but depending on how often it updates, it's a battery killer too.
Now I use another application.
What is that?
Called Juice Defender. Have you guys heard of that yet?
I'm not.
It works better if your phone's rooted. I just got my replacement phone, so it's not rooted yet. But what it does is you set an aggressive level, and so you can make it extreme or very passive. But when your phone goes to sleep, it automatically shuts off all your radios for you. GPS, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, unless you want Bluetooth on. If you're on a call and it goes to sleep, it'll leave Bluetooth on because it's on a call, but it'll shut Wi-Fi off. And because it knows, well, you're on a call and the phone's asleep, he's still not going to use Wi-Fi, even though he's going to use it as Bluetooth.
Let me guess, that one was free too.
Yes, it was. There's 3 levels, a free and 2 paids.
Well, guys, that's all the time we've got for this segment. I want to thank Mike for being back down here. Thanks for coming. Thanks for bringing the Xoom again. It's a fantastic device. Once again, pick it up at Verizon stores. $5.99, like you said, with the contract.
On a 2-year contract, that's correct.
And $7.99 without.
That's right.
Fantastic. And a free upgrade to 4G, by the way.
4G upgradable at no cost.
That's
Very cool.
fantastic.
Very cool.
Yeah. All right, and you're going to be bringing back some other gadgets pretty soon.
We'll
so
see everybody soon. Sure will.
All right, thanks again for being here. Thank you, Dean. We'll be back with more tech news.